Okay, before I show you what an optimal health breakfast looks like, let's run through a couple products that are good examples of things that we want to try to avoid and even eliminate in your breakfast. So keep in mind, when you're looking for whole grain products, you're looking for ones that are 100% whole grain with less than 2 ingredients, all right, or 2 or less ingredients. If there's any more than that, chances are you're going to run into some problems with added sweeteners, sodium, preservatives, and things like that. So in front here are examples of products that I would not consider something or foods that you should eat every day in your daily diet. Cheerios, okay? Why wouldn't I consider Cheerios something that you would want to eat every day? First ingredient is whole grain oats. That's good. That's a whole grain. But if you read on, the next ingredient is modified cornstarch, sugar, salt, tripotassium phosphate, on and on and on. Okay, there's probably 20 ingredients in here. You run into a lot of preservatives, sweeteners, added sodium, things that we want to try to limit or eliminate with your breakfast. Fruit Loops, definitely a very poor example of something that you should eat every day. First ingredient, sugar. Second is whole grain corn flour, wheat flour. If you keep going on, there is actually trans fats in this, added preservatives. Very bad example of a food that you would want to eat every day. Even instant oatmeal. I'm not a fan of this because it comes in a packet, and when things that you buy come in packets like this, chances are they're going to be loaded with preservatives, sweeteners, added sodium, and that's the case here. Good thing about it though, first ingredient is 100% whole grain rolled oats. But if you keep reading on the second one, sugar, artificial, sweeteners, flavors, salts, okay, not something that I would recommend eating on a daily basis. Right, there's better alternatives. And cornflakes, same thing. You run in just to a fewer ingredients compared to some of these, but again, lots of added sugars, preservatives, and artificial flavors and those kinds of things. These are examples of foods that you do not want to eat on a regular daily basis. So we are going to get rid of them permanently. And I'm going to show you some products that should be foods and products that you could eat on a daily basis that are perfectly fine. And here are 2 cereals, and I'm showing you these 2 cereals because cereals are very tough. There's very few cereals that I would recommend somebody to eat on a daily basis, but these are 2 of them. And the reason why shredded wheat's one is because it's got my favorite, one ingredient, and that ingredient is whole grain wheat. Okay, so great example of a healthy product, one ingredient, no preservatives, no sodium, no artificial sweeteners. That's a good one. Autumn wheat is made by Kashi. There's a couple other varieties that are okay. This is one of them. But this one, again, 2 ingredients. This does have a little bit of sweetener. It has evaporated cane sugar, which is a sweetener. It's no different than regular sugar. All right, so this would be an okay example. It's going to be a little bit better tasting for most of you than the plain shredded wheat. But both are great examples of healthy cereal alternatives to what I just showed you. So these are 2 that you could have, or I would recommend having every day if that's what you wanted to do with the cereal. But I think there's an ultimate source of breakfast, and it begins with a 100% whole grain, and these are quick 1-minute Quaker oats. And this is, in my opinion, your best source because oats not only are what I would call a superfood, all right, but they're low in calories, and when you buy something like this, 1 ingredient, and that ingredient is 100% natural whole grain quality rolled oats. So this is where you start your day at, okay? Lowering your cholesterol levels, high in fiber, the list goes on and on. Oats like this are considered a superfood by many dietitians and nutritionists because of how many nutrients, vitamins, and minerals it packs per calorie. So this is where you start. Other ingredients that we're going to add to that are milled flax seeds. And this is what the bag looks like inside. All right, you want to buy the milled or the ground because this is much more easily digestible in your intestinal tract than the seeds are. You can find this in any grocery store. All right, it's found in the baking goods section. We want to add ground flax seeds for its heart-healthy fat benefit. All right, this is Mother Nature's plant source of omega-3 fatty acids. And this is something that we're going to add to our cereal. We're also going to add, our protein source is going to come from peanut butter. And these 2 peanut butters are great tasting alternatives to just regular organic peanut butter. This one is a smart balance, and then this one is naturally more. Again, you can find most of these in any grocery store. You just got to know where to look for them, usually on the top of the shelf there. All right, but what I like about them is that they have more than one ingredient or two ingredients, but they're all healthy ingredients. So these two peanut butters I would recommend using if you don't like plain organic. We're going to add fruit to that, and the fruit that we're going to add to this, I like to add about a 3-inch piece of banana and blueberries. Now, when you make this concoction, I would highly recommend that you make this with a berry, okay? Use a berry, and it doesn't matter if it's blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, it does not matter. But I want you to try to have at least a half a cup of berry in this morning meal. And I have these two varieties here. I have the raw blueberry, and then I have the frozen blueberry. And the reason why I have both is because I want to point out that nutritionally, these are the same. It does not matter which you choose. When blueberries are out of season or berries are out of season, the frozen are going to be a little bit more affordable than the raw, but when the raw is available and it's not highly priced, this is my favorite. I think raw tastes so much better, but nutritionally they are the same. You can use these interchangeably, it's up to you. If you use the frozen, you'll have to thaw them out before you add them. So, finally then, I have regular just skim milk here. For those of you who are vegetarian or lactose intolerant, you can use soy, but this is going to be our calcium source as well as adding another protein source. So let me show you how I make this thing. I keep a 1/4 cup in my oatmeal here. Okay, just a 1/4 cup scoop, that way it's easily measurable. I don't have to do any estimating, it's just right there. I add a 1/4 cup of that, and then I add 3/4 of a cup of milk. And these are the only two ingredients that you add before you cook them. And I'll explain to you why here in a second. But I pour that 3/4 of a cup of milk in, I swish it around, make sure it's nice and dispersed so there's no oatmeal floating at the top and all clumpy. And I'm gonna cook this for 1 minute and 15 seconds. Okay, so after that comes out, we're gonna add peanut butter and we're gonna add the flax. And the reason why I don't want you to add these until it's cooked is because omega-3 fatty acids will typically become destroyed or get destroyed whenever you heat them to high temperatures. So we're gonna add our flax and the peanut butter afterwards because these peanut butters have flax oil in them, which is another reason why I like them. All right, instead of using trans fats, which a lot of the other more like peanut butters have in them, these use a healthier oil. And then we're going to add our fruits and things like that to it. So based on our last lesson, we're going to use different parts of our body to help us gauge what we're going to add to this. Now, I prefer to use the Smart Balance when I make this, but either one's fine. There's not a whole lot of nutritional difference to all this. And when I do this, I'm going to use my thumb from the tip to the first joint to estimate what a tablespoon is. So when I stick my spoon in there, and I bring it out, I'm gonna kind of just measure that out and see that that's about 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, according to my thumb, which is an estimated tablespoon from the tip to the first joint. So I'm gonna add that whenever it comes out, and I'm gonna do the same thing with my flax. So I'm just gonna stick my spoon in there, get a tablespoon of it, that's about a tablespoon, and I'm going to add that in. All right, so I'm going to pull that out. The first thing I'm going to add is that milled flaxseed. Again, that's more easily digestible. I'm going to add my tablespoon of peanut butter, and I'm going to mix those together. Now, I prefer a little bit of a soupier oatmeal. If you like yours a little bit thicker, just add less milk to it. But I'm going to get that nice and stirred around there. And this is absolutely delicious, guys. This peanut butter really provides a nice flavor to this oatmeal. All right, so to that now, I'm going to let that sit and cool just a little bit. I'm going to use the dollar bill estimate and cut about 3 inches of that banana off and just cut it up in that oatmeal. And then to that, I'm going to add about a half a cup of raw blueberries. Okay, I'm going to visualize a ice cream scoop. Think about those blueberries filling up that ice cream scoop and add those in there. And what the fruit does is this is your sweetener. The sugar in the fruit provides that sugar without those empty calories. And this, guys, is an optimal health example of breakfast. It's absolutely delicious. Give it a try. Let me know what you think because I think there's nothing better than this combination for breakfast. All right, hope you enjoyed that. Bye-bye.